We are Rogue Media Sports.
Yo, welcome to Keep Stacking with Riley. Thank y'all for joining me today. Let's get into the episode. All right. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank y'all for joining again today. I'm joined today by my cousin and very good friend, Trent. Thank you for joining, buddy.
What's up, brother?
Yeah. Me and Trent grew up together, of course. We've been cousins since our birth. He's been like another brother to me. He was born just a few months before me. So I think June's your birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're about to be 26.
June 11th, yeah.
And then he has two sisters. We grew up as cousins, but mostly as brothers, and very close throughout our childhood. And then once high school came along, we probably separated a little bit, but we were still hanging out then, of course. I would come over a lot and we'd hang out too. And then college, we were still in touch, of course, seeing each other on holidays and stuff. But since this accident, bro, I've felt very blessed to have you in my life. And not just of course, you're like somebody I can talk to, and you know me, and I know you, like we can relate and stuff. But I've been able to talk so real with you, especially about my faith and my home life. And I've got my brother Miles, but he's 17, and to have you so close in age, it's been so impactful for me and helpful. You've provided me great guidance through the Word, through Jesus, and I just honestly I admire you too, because you're also a dad, and that's we are facing our own set of challenges right now. You as a dad, me with my obvious injury situation, but you don't really treat me different, which I really appreciate, bro. Oftentimes that's the case, because people look at me and they're afraid. They're I'm not different. You've done a good job at not treating me differently. So thank you for that. But yeah, like I said, the father thing. So Trent's 25, we're both 25, and he's got two girls, with a third in the oven. Dude, the bananas.
Due in September, yeah.
So you've got two girls. Tell us a little about, I guess, how old they are. But my first question about being a dad's what do you like? What's the hardest part of being a dad?
Well, so first off, yep, through and through, a girl dad. I got a 4-year-old, a 1-year-old, and one in September coming.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't know what we got to do to get a boy. But maybe the next one. Who knows?
What you said you're gonna go until, if you have another girl, you're gonna go. You want a lot of kids, but if you have a fourth girl,
I don't know, bro. 4 girls, I think that'll be my number. If it was another boy,
so you wouldn't try for a fifth if you had a fourth girl?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. But hardest thing about being a dad, I don't know. Just always just learning new stuff every day.
Yeah.
And just being present in their life, making sure I have some influence going on, guiding them, really.
What's it like? So you have the two girls. Do you ever? I don't know. I've always anticipated that'd be a great girl dad. Apart from boys and girls, what do you think's the hardest? What do you think's harder about girls and boys, or are girls easier?
I gotta go home after this podcast. Yeah. No, I think just the difference between men and women. I mean,
yeah.
I hope I'm not.
You grew up with sisters
anything.
though, so you know girls.
Sisters. It's different, yeah, and they're a little bit more sensitive.
Yeah.
I can't be as hard.
Yeah.
On them,
Yeah.
and a lot of emotions go in that house.
Yeah.
And girls, I love y'all. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I'm just saying.
Bro, that's so funny.
I need some peace and quiet sometimes, so I gotta get that time into.
Do you think having sisters has helped you become a good girl dad?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I always looked up to my sisters too.
Yeah.
And spent a lot of time with my mom growing up. Dad was always working too, so it just it definitely helped me. Dude,
your sisters are. I mean, your whole family, I kind of have a whole admiration for, especially your parents, but also your sisters. How I would be so grateful if I already have them to help raise your kids too. What kind of role do they play? Because you're what are you doing now? So you're electrician school, or I guess, what do you call it? Trade school?
Trade school, yeah.
And then how often are your parents and or sisters having to help with the kids and stuff? How are you doing that? Balancing dad and electrician school and all this stuff, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely anytime I have a question or something, I a lot of times I just give them a call like, hey, and
Yeah.
they're very quick to just respond or answer. And it's not that like I need them to make the decision, but like definitely
Yeah.
just getting their input is more than that's really all you need
Yeah.
sometimes. And mom and dad, I get to see them pretty often, so that's
Yeah.
good. Like,
They're in town.
but I've always had good relationships with them, and just I don't ever see that changing in the future.
Yeah. Well, one thing I love about your family so much is how like especially like since we've been hanging out more since I've been back in town. Um, your family and my family are like so rooted in their faith, and like you said one thing the other day, like talking about your mom, how you're you didn't you it was I don't remember really exactly the words, but you didn't want to ask about something because you already knew what she was going to say, like relating it back to scripture or the Bible.
Right.
But I mean, obviously that has in those instances it can be kind of annoying, but like there's so much value to be had there. Um, but that's what I love about your family is like all the wisdom does come from the Lord, of course, and a God. But like one thing I wanted to ask you, like, what was it like for you growing up with because your family's involved in your church growing up? How do you think that's impacted who you are growing up in like in the church like that with your family so involved? Your mom was a singer, your uncle was a pastor. Um, I don't think I'd like it. Did you like it?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. No, definitely growing up, like I did not like it at all. It was just but looking back now, like I definitely got like a unique perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hated it. I felt like we grew up so differently than all my
Yeah.
friends, and I was just like, why can't we be normal?
Yeah.
Why aren't we normal? And that was something like I didn't really have friends. I would go out to like their house or whatever growing up and stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
looking back, like I for sure am so thankful for it. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things where you didn't appreciate it until
Because when we were kids, didn't appreciate it. Why'd you hate it at the time?
because just like I said, like
I
we
feel like you were out.
felt different. Like I
Yeah.
was like, man, like I would go and to school and I would hang out with friends there, but like as soon as like we went home, it was just like I didn't even get an invite or anything.
Because
No,
they assumed you like wouldn't be able to come because your
yeah,
family's too Christian.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. It was weird. It was a weird dynamic there, but I don't know. We made it work, and
Yeah.
then I never felt left out. Like I was
Yeah.
always running with some of the cooler kids. I thought, and
Yeah, I
I
thought so too
mean,
because you were like like you played sports in high school.
yeah,
You were
I was
normal.
normal, bro.
Yeah.
But it was just like behind closed doors. Like also, just everybody wants to fit in high school.
Yeah,
It's kind
for
of like the
sure.
whole journey. So like I felt like even more so that I didn't because
Mm-hmm.
my family's like this, like you know.
Yeah.
So
So like how your Uncle Darren's your uncle.
mhm.
He was a pastor. How often was he like preaching at Harvest Time? Was that the church you grew up at?
Yeah, he
Was he like an everyday preacher?
not every day, but
Okay.
definitely often. And like if there was ever a time where my grandfather would be gone for a period of time, like he would be there
Yeah.
all the time.
So they were pretty much like rotating.
Right.
Your grandfather's not available.
Head
Darren's
pastor,
filling in.
assistant pastor type thing. And then my mom would even preach, like she's gonna preach Sunday,
Yeah.
right? Like just Mother's Day message and stuff. And she does really well too.
Was it? Oh, she'll preach sometimes.
Yeah.
What? So now you're going to Antioch in town.
Mhm.
How do those like? Do you think Harvest Time is similar to Antioch, or like what are the differences? What do you like better, or what's worse? Either way.
I think that it's just the big difference there is there's a small town church vibe to Harvest Time, and then like with Antioch, it wasn't like mega church like you hear kind of like that stigma on mega churches
Yeah.
and stuff.
It probably felt mega churchy
It
compared to
was
Harvest
much
Time.
bigger, yeah, and they had multiple services and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was all new. But man, like I feel like at Harvest Time, I grew up in the church. It was almost like everything kind of revolved around us in a way where I didn't
Because y'all
really,
were the family and most of all in the church.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't really love that.
I would not like it either.
Yeah, and it was a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And
so
Everybody's
at
looking at
Antioch,
you. Yeah.
right? And at Antioch, it's like, dude, I'm nobody over there.
Yeah.
But at the same
kinda
time, like, I
blend in.
have friends and I've built relationships there, and they just have like a really good way about like talking about the hard subjects over there without like mishandling it. Almost is what
Yeah.
it seems like to me. I've always really liked it.
I feel like a lot of the local churches are doing that. Like I go to Harris Creek in town, Antioch. I always hear about Harris Creek, Antioch, and I think Highlands, the third one. But like I think the preachers in town, I think Waco as a whole is doing a good job of like not being so much of like normal church life and just like they're like addressing hard questions like pornography, like stuff within marriages that's tough. Like they know what's actually difficult for us now, social
Mhm.
media,
Right.
all that. But um I'm just glad they're like not hiding behind stuff and they're like actually addressing what's the issue, which is like all the stuff on our phones, bro. But in my opinion, it's all the stuff on our phones. But okay, so we touched on fatherhood and the church, but like I think I have some more questions about you being a dad because like you're so young, bro. And like I get so impressed whenever you're like taking care of 2 kids right now and with a third in the way, and I'm just like trying to like I would this interview doesn't happen. I was not planning on kids for like years, mostly probably because uh I was I don't think I was scared. Like I definitely wanted kids, but um I think I wanted to like figure out my own stuff first, and I think I was like once baseball was done, I was like I can't dive into family right now. Like I don't even know who I am.
Right.
So one question. Okay, how'd you meet your wife?
Church camp.
Yeah.
We were
Ironic.
15, yeah, ironic. Yeah, 15 years old though, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I never really like brought a girl home before her, and I just like went home as like a 15-year-old kid. I met her through my brother-in-law and sister
Yeah.
at the same camp that they met at, and I just thought, dude, I don't know, like she just set the bar so high for me.
Was that Reagan that met her or Fallon?
That was Reagan.
Okay.
Yeah, so through Reagan and Blake, like I met Kayla, and
Crazy.
It's crazy, bro.
I didn't know they met at church camp too.
Yeah, the
When
same
was
one.
that?
The same one.
Like when they were the same age or like teenagers?
They were younger.
Okay.
I don't know how old they were specifically, but
How many kids does Reagan have now?
she's got 4 boys.
Damn.
So we're going for
Y'all are all
the,
just
we're going for the
complex.
opposite. Bro.
And Fallon's got 2 right now.
Pound's got 3.
Okay.
She just had her 3rd.
But she doesn't have one on the way.
No,
She just had her
She
3rd.
just
That's
had
okay.
her 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah. Your parents are racking up the grandkids.
We're at 10 after ours comes in September. We're
Yeah.
at 10. So.
Okay, so y'all met or at church camp. How quick was it until I had your first girl?
So, well, there's this part in the middle. So we didn't talk to each other for 6 years, and man, like I was just in like a really bad spot.
Yeah,
and
we were growing up.
I kind of was like shooting my shot at her, just like half-heartedly, and then I don't know. She just seemed like she was untouchable at this point for me. Like I could not,
like too pretty untouchable.
That of course, but obviously, like I just if I'm in a bad spot and like she's seemingly doing so well, like I just thought like, man, like she's not gonna want me.
Yeah.
You know? And so like I felt like I needed to get clean first and like take care of my own business, like be presentable almost. And I mean that's just not the way it goes. But just by happenstance, like I was on the phone with her one day, FaceTime, and she was actually talking to one of her cousins about Jesus, and they were kind of having this debate about like atheism and Jesus.
Like pretty much, I think Jesus is real. Like what was like their main argument? If Jesus is, I feel like there's so many.
Yeah, like he kind of gave like that general argument that you kind of hear nowadays where it's like, I think there's something out there, but
Yeah.
So it's just like, she didn't realize it at the time, but like she was talking to me too on the other side of things. Cause I was like trying to figure out what my belief was, you know? And
cause you're like 21 at this time?
Or 19.
20? Okay. Yeah.
And so, man, after that, it was like, I just remember leaving that phone call and I was like crying, bro. Cause I hadn't had like a real experience like that in a long time.
Yeah.
And that really like kickstarted it. Like she really kind of changed me. And,
and you're a 19-year-old kid at this time, bro.
Yeah. And man, like without her nowadays, like this would be impossible for me.
Yeah.
Like fatherhood would be so tough. Like she makes it easy on me. She really does.
That's so cool that like that's what sprouted our relationship was talking about Jesus. And like even if it's like doubts and like
in a big way for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were still just kids too. Like we talked about everything and went through everything. But it was a huge deal for me.
That's such a thing. Like you're building your foundation on the Lord, and that's just kind of y'all like an accident. Y'all accidentally found your relationship there, but it's like that was all meant to be. But it's so cool.
Yeah. So first kid came out like a year and a half, 2 years after. I can't remember exactly.
After you got married?
Yeah.
And I was in your wedding. When was that?
That was 2019.
Okay, 19.
Yeah. I had just turned 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, man, dude, that's crazy.
It's crazy talking about it now, but it wasn't back then. I don't know.
And now y'all are in China Spring and you're doing electrician school. Like where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Hopefully master electrician, hopefully owning my own business or getting that started.
Yeah.
I have a big vision for it and putting in a lot of work right now.
Yeah.
So
how many kids do you think you have in 5 years. Like,
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Leave that one up to the Lord.
Yeah.
Well, I like that, bro. That's so. I mean, that's part of why um, I love our relationship because like we have such different sides of the spectrum, balancing life's challenges. But I love being there for you. You be there for me. But like your advice to me, even though you don't like live my situation, feels like it's just as valuable because I think just because of how you are with your spiritual life and how you do live like that. So um, that's been so cool to have that revealed that at times I feel so lonely because I know nobody's lived my exact experience,
Mhm.
but like I don't feel like that with you and like a couple of my other guys that like just don't treat me differently. But like I think that's just a testament to like our we're boys, of course, but like
Yeah, bro. I had 2 sisters, no
yeah,
brothers. I had one on my dad's side, one on my
yeah,
mom's side, and you were the one on my dad's side, bro.
yeah,
Like you're my brother. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I wanted to switch back to the church and Jesus thing.
Okay.
What your family was very involved with the church. You didn't really love it growing up because you had that weird like you're kind of like all the pressure and focus is on you,
Mhm.
which is what I wouldn't have liked about it either. But through that, a lot of people will like kind of rebel and stuff and like not even follow Jesus, but you've continued to like maybe throughout you've had some times, but like who has been the biggest inspiration to you to keep living like that? It doesn't even have to be a family member. It could be if it is, but who's like
No,
inspired you to
so
continue following Jesus?
so I guess rewind a little bit because
Yeah.
I've jumped around a little bit.
Yeah.
No, there was a time where I rebelled hard,
Yeah.
and I literally because I've always believed in God, I've always
Right.
believed in Jesus, but there was a time where I remember like I was like 16, 17 years old, and I felt like I hadn't experienced anything, and so
Yeah.
I literally prayed like, God, like I'm sick of this. Take your hand off my life. I want to go live my life. I
Yeah.
want to go do me. And
Like essentially have fun and like let loose.
yeah,
Okay.
and I think like he'll never take his hand off your life. But
Not
like,
entirely.
yeah, but I definitely was like, oh yeah, all right, bet. Like, go ahead,
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I hit it like a freight train, bro.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where I was saying like I was in a really dark place whenever I
Yeah.
met Kayla the second time around. And
Yeah.
I mean, she really was like my biggest influence the first time.
Was she like trying to help you get out of that dark place?
No,
Like encourage you
I
to
don't even think
not?
she really knew it. I didn't
Okay.
want her to know it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. But like that's just how God works, I think.
Yeah.
And just he just knits that stuff together so perfectly. And like she was having that conversation with her cousin, who we were living similar lifestyles at the time, and she didn't realize it, but she was talking to me, and I just man,
Yeah.
it felt so good the next day. Like after that conversation, I was like, ah, felt like back almost. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then I would say like the second biggest impact was definitely like my kids.
Yeah.
There was even like as recently as like this past year, it was a big change for me just to take it another step further. The pastor at Antioch, Jimmy Seibert, he had preached a message on generational curses, and I can't tell
What
you
is
like
generational curse?
generational curses is like addictions or like that's what mainly involved around me anyway.
Yeah. But like it affect a whole generation, like your whole life. Generational
Like
curse. It would curse you for generations. So like your whole life it would curse you.
there's this verse in the Bible where it talks about like whenever you're serving the Lord and you're doing it. I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah,
I
of
don't
course.
know specific, but if you're doing right and you're serving the Lord, like your kids and your kids' kids will be blessed. And like I think
Right.
it kind of works in the same way, just like the opposite effect. So like
Okay.
whenever you're struggling with something, you're trying to hide it and you're doing
Yeah.
it like consistently, like where you know it's wrong and you think you're hiding it, but you're not. Like unintentionally, I think we actually like teach our kids the same thing and like put them through it. And now
Yeah.
all of a sudden, instead of them doing the opposite of us, where we want them to do better, and
Same thing.
yeah, they're kind
Yeah.
of following in our footsteps and like they're going through the same struggles that we put ourselves through. So,
Yeah.
and that really changed like my perspective on it. It was like, man, I can't tell you how bad like I don't want my girls to go through what I
Yeah.
went through as far as like my struggles and my addictions and stuff like that. And man, yeah, I really hope that I'm good now.
Yeah.
You know,
But so the generational curse thing, I'm just interested in this. So like let's say somebody's issue is like drug abuse, drug addiction. Um they're struggling with drugs, they're addicted to them, they're a daily user. They're hiding it from their kids, so their kids aren't they aren't like seeing them do the drugs, but based off of them, they're like, I guess, attitude, um, just how like they're living, that can kind of bleed over into their kids' lifestyles, and their kids kind of adopt it, even though they're not seeing them
Yeah, and I
do the
think
drugs or something.
I
Yeah,
think you probably exposed them to stuff that like that wouldn't be there
yeah,
had you not been like doing this.
yeah,
And you don't even want to do it yourself. You know, like, a lot of
yeah,
times it's something like you don't want to do. You get out of it or you want to,
yeah,
and you just feel like you can't.
yeah.
So it's a tough one.
What was that? Like, so you're 16, you're praying about like, take your hand off. I just kind of want to like feel what it's like to not be under this scrutiny, and like I feel like all the eyes are on you, bro. It's like I totally understand what you were feeling, or I kind of feel like I can understand. What was that dark period like for you? Like, um, I know like we both have smoked weed and stuff, but
Yeah.
like
Well, there's a lot of that for
mostly
sure.
that.
Yeah, and I feel like it almost like opened this door of like just like depression kind of set in and
Yeah,
anxiety and just that feeling alone,
yeah.
like a real lonely feeling. And man,
As
that's
a
a
kid in
dark.
high school, you felt that, bro?
No, it was
Yeah,
over the course of a couple of years,
yeah,
and I would like to clarify, like, while I felt like the pressure was on me, it probably wasn't to
yeah,
the degree I did, but I just felt like I was
yeah.
under a microscope.
Dude,
You
I
know,
mean, yeah. There's no
yeah,
shame in that. I would feel the same way because,
yeah,
like, I mean, it's impossible not to feel that way because, like, we are always living in our own heads, and like, I relate to that too because, like, as much as I'm always jumping to conclusions about what people are thinking of me,
mhm,
and like what like they look at me and they're like, oh, what an idiot that kid drunk drove, like he deserves this, but like they're probably not even thinking that. So like I jump to that conclusion exactly the same, just a different scenario. But
mhm.
yeah. Um, so like how long do you think, or like you think Kayla kind of brought you out of it once she started talking about that with her friend?
Yeah.
Um, but like I was kind of doing the drug deal more so my later half of my life, like into my college career, like
Mhm.
22 to 24.
Yeah.
I was smoking marijuana like daily, mostly just at night. But as a kid, or like how I never like felt depression from it. Do you think it was the marijuana directly make you feel
So,
depressed, or like it was just like kind of everything?
yeah, well, it had all started, like, I was hanging around, like, a lot of my friends, and, I mean, it just was something we kinda all jumped into
Yeah,
together, and eventually, like, I was stuck in Waco, and they all moved
yeah,
away, so now I'm just by myself with this
that's where,
thing,
yeah,
and it was just kinda like, already I don't like myself, already
yeah,
I am in this place, and I don't have much going for me, like,
yeah,
honestly, like, I should've just if I have, like, regrets and stuff, a lot of times it comes from, like, "Man, I wish I would've known what I know now
yeah,
back then, I could've been working on stuff already,"
yeah,
you know? So,
yeah,
like, I just wasn't taking care of business.
yeah. I feel like probably like you're only, or like whenever your friends were leaving, like now your only friend was like the drug and like the marijuana. So it's like, yeah,
And I was
I can
never
feel
one of
that.
those kids that could kinda do both and, like, get away with it, like, bro,
What
if
do you
I
mean do both?
like, some people could, like, kinda goof around and slack off and still somehow come out on top. I was
Yeah,
never that kid, bro. I
bro.
always got caught, I always got in trouble, I always failed, like, whatever it would've been, like
I feel like I was that kid that could slack off and get around. Because I was definitely like in high school, I was definitely doing that. Not with marijuana, but mostly with drinking. Like
Yeah.
I could still like drink on the weekends, like still do good at baseball. Like people just saw that I was like good baseball player, but I was
Mhm.
still not doing that. I think that's what I let myself get blind to that too. Like I was like, well, if I can do this and still give recognition and like
You're
praise for
chilling.
this, like I'm fine. Damn. Yeah. That's crazy. So um dude, we also have a lot of conversations about um our YouTube stuff. We both consume a lot of YouTube content.
Yep.
Um I was like looking at my YouTube today and I was like seeing what was on there. It's almost always Um, I get a lot of Clip Connectly and like George Jenko and like the Christian influencer guys. And then there's video games as well, like MLB The Show and Warzone. Like
Mhm.
Nick Marks are always on there. Um, but it's mostly chess, some kind of video games, some kind of Jesus slash Charlie Kirk stuff. But like, what is your YouTube comprised of?
A lot of the same
Yeah.
stuff, and
Do you watch any gaming stuff?
I do
Yeah.
sometimes, but not really lately because I just don't play anymore.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasted a lot of time on games.
Yeah.
Personally,
We gamed a lot back in the day.
like just back to what I just said, bro. Like, I was never the type who could just kind of take something and just do it a little bit.
Yeah.
I just had zero
Yeah.
discipline. Really.
It was like we were like going full gas on one thing.
Yeah. And so I had to get it out of my life. But like, man, I still miss it sometimes, and I wonder. But that interest has kind of gone a little bit less. A lot of fishing stuff, and I'm looking at golf stuff now. Like it's fun.
Yeah,
to watch.
are you getting into golf, bro?
A little bit.
Nice. Do you ever like go to the range?
No, I went one time, bro. I was like, I don't ever want to come here again. This is awful.
Bro, you should go with Miles. He can like give you some pointers.
Yeah, that'd be sick. But a lot of like different people like Jocko or Rogan.
Yeah, motivational.
Lex Friedman. Yeah, a lot of motivational stuff too, for sure. There's I like good conversations and debates and stuff like that too.
You listen to a lot of podcasts. What's like what's your favorite one or like top 3? Because you listen to a lot, you could probably make a top 3. Yeah,
I think Lex Friedman is probably like one of the best mediators in like a fiery debate.
Is he a Christian guy?
No.
Okay.
He's just I mean, the way he handles conversations is just really unbiased. It seems like I think a lot of times it comes from like what the person's true intentions are. I think his true intention is truly just to have a good conversation, learn, maybe get peace on both sides after this. Like he's talked to like the different leaders of like Ukraine and Russia, the Israel guy, like all that stuff. So it's been cool to watch.
Is he like comparable to Jordan Peterson?
No, but I mean, he's had conversations with Jordan Peterson, and I mean, those are even crazy.
Dude, sometimes when I listen to Jordan Peterson, he like talks too big.
Yeah,
I have to like take him in spurts because I can't listen to 2 hours of Jordan Peterson. I'm like gonna lose it.
No, for sure. You got to rewind some of his stuff. Same with Lex, and like that's why I like Rogan sometimes. Or I just want to like hear something interesting.
He's a good balance. Rogan's a good balance. Like he can talk a little with those guys as well, but he can also be more chill and like not.
Yeah.
So technical with his words and like using big words all the time, but he's a smart guy that can keep up too.
And then with Jocko, like I just like the old war stories and stuff like of like World War II, Civil War. Like he just like breaks down a whole bunch of different stuff, and it's just like it's like hearing like a sick bedtime story.
Was Jocko military?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, ex-Navy SEAL type guy.
Bro, Jocko, I got introduced to Jocko in high school. It's kind of funny that like he's still prevalent because like our high school baseball coach showed up to us, and the first thing he showed us was the good thing. And like me and my friends were always like quoting it like good, like
good.
But something dumb like I don't know, like the other day my friend was driving on the road, he's like, gotta fly a tire going on the road, good. It's like I understand his premise and like the whole idea of it. It's just funny, you kind of make it into a joke.
Yeah.
But like, so we both consume a lot of YouTube content. But you only consume YouTube content. You don't. You're active on social media,
right?
Why don't you do it in social media?
So it probably started with me just because I think like being a young married man, there's a lot of females on there and just girl stuff that's just probably not good for you just to be settling on.
It's so accessible too.
Pretty much a trap, basically. Is what I'm saying. And so that was one thing I just needed to really cut out of my life. And then two, I think a lot of times at my worst points, like I just found myself either looking at somebody's page and being like, man, they're doing so much better than me.
Yeah.
Or the opposite of, wow, I'm doing so much better than them. And neither one of those places.
Healthy.
Yeah, neither are healthy. I don't want to be in either one of those places. So
damn, that is so true. Dude, I've like kind of made it feel okay because I struggle with the same exact thing. When I see it on Instagram, I'll do not interested, and like it'll come up less. Sometimes I've curated it to where it's not so bad, but like it still comes up on YouTube too. Sometimes on the shorts it'll come up. It seems unavoidable, and like now that I'm doing the podcast and like I'm pretty active on Instagram, I feel like I can't get away from it. But like I've taken the Instagram off of my home screen, so I have to search it if I want to get to. I still get to it all the time.
Yeah,
but
just that little extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But dude, I do the same thing with the compare game. Always comparing myself, and like I've had so much thoughts, especially since after the accident. Like I don't even. Why do I do this? Because like every weekend somebody's doing something that I would want to be doing, like going to the beach or hanging out with their friends. I'm just like feel like I'm drowning myself in even more sadness because like I'm having to watch these guys have fun when I know I can't do this. So like I don't know, dude. Like I want to kind of do the same thing, but at the same time I feel like I need to still be active because of this platform, and like my Instagram is like still a place for people to follow me, but I want to find a balance like that. I think what I want to do. I mean, I could probably just delete them and use them whenever I want to post something. Yeah,
And just post
yeah,
what you need and then get off. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's definitely like even like since I've taken up a little interest in golf, I'm like on Facebook Market trying to find some golf
yeah.
clubs. Anybody? But I'll find myself being like, let me scroll for a minute on my way to the marketplace, and
Yeah.
so it's like I'm getting it
On Fa-
again. So
yeah.
I catch it though now, and
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, get off here. You've been on here for too long.
It seems like with that example, like there's so many ways to get around it. It is simply up to the fact if you're going to do it or not. Because if I delete Instagram and just re-download it when I was going to post something, I can still re-download it on a Friday night when I'm chilling.
Right.
Um, so like, yeah, I mean that's just straight up comes to you taking the steps to either remove it, get away from you. Like if I have a buddy in my life group that like takes his phone out of the house, so he just away from it. Like if that's what you have to do, it's what you have
Yeah.
to do. And like
Yeah.
I admire that guy for doing that because it's stronger than like some people realize. But
It's just being intentional, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to put those places in step if you
Yeah.
want those things to change for sure.
Well, continuing on the YouTube stuff, I always see Charlie Kirk's guy. I've been watching a lot lately too. He's got good debates. He's kind of mean sometimes, but he's very intelligent. But I saw two things he was talking about today, and I wanted to ask you about him too. He was talking about. Well, I have one here. Two questions. Let's start with this one.
Okay.
Your thoughts on getting baptized for a second time. A lot of people, and I think this is cool, respect it, see it, recognize it. They'll get baptized. Like I was baptized when I was like 8 because I wanted to. I voiced to my parents I want to get baptized. Did it perfect. But since I was 8, like I've lived a life of like away from Christ, and I pretty much lived my whole life up until the accident like that. So like people will like I could now in my situation now that I'm like kind of living differently, get rebaptized and do the whole thing. My opinion on the matter is like I can totally understand why I would get baptized for a second time because I'm living differently. I'm now living my life for Christ, and like I want to just like show everybody else that I'm doing that.
Right.
I feel like I can make that own decision in my own head, and like my salvation is still recognized through the first baptism, and you don't have to get baptized to be saved. I don't think is that in the Bible that you do?
No.
And then so like I've just made a choice to not get baptized for a second time. I don't need to get baptized for a second time to get into heaven or to have like I feel like I'd just be doing it for show. So that's why I'm not doing it. And now logistically it would be even harder with the whole process thing. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think
I think with like what you just said specifically,
yeah.
if it's something that where you feel like it's going to be more for show, then yeah, I'm like performative. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say do it. But if it's like one of those things where you're like, I just don't really want to do it because I don't want to get up there and
Yeah.
like, have to be
Yeah.
go through the whole process or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like you might need. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like it's wherever you do feel led. I think you really just that just comes with discernment and just like your relationship with Christ and what you feel led to do.
That's exactly
do
right.
it.
It's all about heart posture, like whatever the Holy Spirit's saying you should do. I mean, that's
Mm.
what's meant to be anyway. So, I guess people that want to get baptized for a second time, of course, that's like do what you do,
Yeah.
do your own thing, and
It's
if
just
you're
rededicating.
feeling led to,
kind of like just a second
yeah,
sign of
I guess it could serve as like a turning point. Like you put a date on it whenever
yeah,
you're
that's a good way to
living
put it,
for
yeah.
life, living for Christ again, and like it's more symbolic than anything. So, okay, good thoughts there. Okay, my second one. I like this one. I've been thinking a lot about other religions, not in the case where I'm like doubting my own. It's more so like I want to back up my own more.
Right.
And now that I'm consuming much more YouTube content, like Christian guys, like our pastor Jonathan Bakuta's on there a lot. Bryce Crawford, George Shanko, those are like outspoken. Cliff Connectley, those are like outspoken Christian guys. Christian apologists is what they call them.
Yeah.
Because they're
Is that what they are?
I think Cliff's one. I
Yeah.
don't think George and I don't even know what gives you the title of an apologist,
Mhm.
other than like a lot.
Right.
But anyway, I've been reading this book about um, it's called Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. So it's
Right.
Nabil Qureshi. He was a Muslim for his whole life, and now he's found Jesus. That's been really cool to read. But apart from, I was thinking about doing a solo episode on the pod and like talking about that book a little bit because it's really awesome. It's a short read, but I think that's a common book that people will just, or if I myself wouldn't read it because it's a book I don't read.
Mhm.
And now that I have this time, I do. But I just want to talk about it and like, can I give the main points anyway? So I've been reading about Islam culture, Muslims, like how they live. But I want to ask you about Catholicism and the new pope. So a new American pope was elected. I guess I get elected recently. Um, what are your what have you seen about the new pope and like what do you know about Catholicism, if anything?
I won't say that I know like a whole lot. I won't pretend to, but
Yeah.
I mean, with the new pope and stuff, where I come from, like people are very interested in eschatology and like the end times stuff.
Eschatology.
Yeah, like the rapture and all that
Okay, yeah.
stuff. And so it gets spooky, bro. So a lot of
That's like
people
our Revelation. Like, are they like, is there something another book that they read besides Revelation?
I mean, that's where I was thinking. Like,
Okay.
so like the Pope, there's nothing in the Bible to my knowledge that says like look out for the Pope, like
Yeah.
he's sus or something like
Yeah.
no. It's just like very much, you know, he's definitely influential. He definitely
Yeah.
has a lot more power than I think people understand. And
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, so it's definitely like, I kind of turn my head to it and think for a second. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's not going to affect my life very much.
Yeah.
And
What
then
is
with Catholicism, I would say like, man, there's a lot of good stuff there that they do that I think like they get there's a stigma about like Catholics, like they're not like real Christians or
Yeah.
something like that. And I don't know. I think there's a lot more to admire them about than like I mean, even like you mentioned Muslims, like man, the amount of discipline and dedication that they
Yeah.
have to their faiths, like it's impressive. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's much more than I've ever
Yeah.
had in a lot of ways. Like some people fast for 40 days and every year, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 days it's hard, bro.
Dude, yeah. I've never even done one day.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
So I think that there's a lot there that people miss out on just
yeah.
listening to the hearsay. But
I'm kind of intrigued to like keep following along with this new Pope thing because I was listening to Charlie Kirk talk about him this morning.
Mhm.
Um, like it's obviously the first American Pope, but like every Pope before, like hasn't been a good English speaker either. This is the first like a one. Now that English is like obviously the most dominant language in
how
the
much
world.
more
Yeah,
influential?
he can like reach our country super easy now, and
Mm.
whatever, like pretty much everybody. So I haven't like seen much more other than like him being elected, but it's kind of interesting to keep following along with that. And like I kind of I'm gonna finish this book about Islam, but I might learn some more about Catholicism too because you said our grandma was Catholic before.
She started off like that. And the
Yeah.
thing with Catholics, and this is where the disagreement I think lies, there's like 50 church branches, right? Like there's a
Yeah,
bunch of them. But
and they have more books in their Bible.
yes,
They think we took books out,
right.
or we did, but
For some reasons,
yeah,
which the apologetics, like they'll kind of talk about like why there was like this big type of conference or whatever you would call
yeah,
it, a council that took out some books
yeah,
to talk about like the canon or the legitimacy of it.
yeah,
And so that was the reason behind that. But like with grandma, like she married grandpa, found her mother in law, had a relationship with Jesus, and it was just life changing for her. And that's kind of how she stepped into it,
So it was
to my
her
knowledge.
husband's mom. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to
And
ask my mom about that because I
yeah.
wonder if she's ever talked to. She's our great grandma.
Okay. Yeah.
Was she your great grandma?
Yeah. I'm technically your uncle, bro.
That's crazy. That's true though. Are you really? Because
No.
no.
No, I mean, I don't know.
I don't
Your
know
mom
either.
and me are first cousins.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're either second cousins or you're my uncle.
Mhm.
Not really my uncle, but
Yeah.
yeah. That's funny. Damn, Catholicism, Islam. Yeah, like I've like I said, like I don't have like I know it's just so weird because the Islam guy I read about, he like he was born into whatever country, I think Pakistan.
Mhm.
Um like it's just so wild that he was born into that culture. Um, he moved to America. There's just so many circumstances that have to happen for people to find Jesus or not. Um, it's so you can get really in the weeds about um, all these different religions and which one's right. Like I just read a chapter in that book about they were debating over the resurrection, um, and like um, one of Islam's biggest arguments against the resurrection is like they have a couple of arguments. Like they either don't think Jesus was the one actually on the cross, or they don't think he actually died. Um,
They don't believe he's the son of God either, right?
or they don't. There's also another argument like Jesus is God. Like they don't. That's a whole thing, dude. Dude, who like a son of God? Like are they different or is he the same one? That's literally the next chapter. Is like that's the next argument he's addressing. If Jesus is God, that's a big one. I want to talk about those two topics in the future on this podcast, like the resurrection, why it's uh so likely to be true, and then second, Jesus is God, like why that's also so likely to be true, or like what he said and what evidence we have that it's the case. So I think I've just been inspired to like talk about that more, and I think that's where I want this podcast to go more. Is more apologetics, yes, a little bit, but like that's like I'm gonna need a lot more learning to be had before I like really speak on that. But I mean, I can talk about whatever I want, so that's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, you can.
But dude, I'm so glad we got this opportunity to talk about you being a dad, or just and like I think people that listen to this podcast, not that many, but like a lot of them are our age.
They're coming, bro. They're gonna.
Yeah.
It's gonna blow up, bro.
They're gonna.
This
Like,
might be the episode.
I was so happy to have you on because a lot of my friends don't have kids, and like you, and like it's so. I think it's inspirational that you like are a dad and like you're this young and like you're hard on yourself, but you're doing a good job. Um, being all three: dad, husband, cousin / brother to me. I
Appreciate
love you,
it.
dude, and thank you for coming on. I mean, we'll probably have you on again one day.
Heck yeah, I'm down.
Oh, yeah.
Love
Thank
you,
you.
brother.
Love you
Thanks
too,
for
man.
having me.
Hell yeah. Thank y'all for listening. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have somebody that you think would be a good guest, or you'd be a good guest, or you have questions for me, just shoot me a DM. Once again, thank you guys. Y'all keep stacking. Peace.